Well, the Bulls love making us sweat, that's for sure. I mean, I did think that it would be fitting for the Bulls to follow up one of their best wins of the season, beating one of the top teams in the league in the Denver Nuggets, to then losing to one of the worst teams in the Western Conference that has only managed to win 15 games all season. I mean, it would only make sense for something like that to happen based on what we've seen this season. But hey, the Bulls did what it seems like every other team has done to them, actually finishing a game strong, actually closing out a fourth quarter. Yes, the Bulls have done that a handful of times this season, but more often than not, we've seen them blow games down the stretch. The Bulls didn't lead this game with the exception of it being 2-0 until around 5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, when they finally stopped trading baskets with the Rockets, got some stops, took advantage of a young team, an athletic and talented team, but a young team who has trouble finishing out games. By the way, you're probably noticing I'm coming out with this post-game video a little late, the morning after as opposed to the night of. My daughter got food poisoning around the time I started working on the video, so I had to tend to her before the video, obviously. But anyway, better late than never. Now, yeah, I'm obviously happy the Bulls won. I'm happy they didn't falter and lose yet another game that they're supposed to win. But this is the Rockets. Like, yeah, it probably shouldn't have come down to the end like that, but give the Rockets credit, they play hard. And they were lighting us up from three, which of course is annoying as the Rockets are, like the Bulls, one of the lowest three-point shooting teams in the league in terms of threes made. The Bulls being last, the Rockets I believe are like 26th or 27th in the league in made threes, but it seems like every team decides to have hot nights when they play the Chicago Bulls. That's just how this season has been going. The Rockets shot 16 for 34 from three, 47%. Eventually you knew they were going to start missing them, which at the end of the game they did, which allowed the Bulls to go on that big run and close out the game, outscoring the Rockets 32-16 in the fourth quarter. And the funny thing is, Bulls actually were hitting their threes tonight. That's what made it frustrating, because when the Bulls are putting up that many threes and they're hitting them on that kind of efficiency, shooting 47% from a three tonight, that usually means that they're dominating. But there was very little defense in the first three quarters of this game on both sides. Everybody was getting their shots up with these. And I believe it was Stacey King who said on the broadcast, okay, who's going to step up and finally play some defense? Well, the Bulls finally stopped messing around and did so in the fourth quarter, getting some big stops. It also helped that the Rockets started missing their shots finally, but the Bulls were hounding the Rockets and actually staying on their man, fighting for the boards and forcing turnovers. The other thing that stood out, and what was great to see in this game, was the fact that the Bulls won the second chance points game, whereas teams have been dominating them on the offensive glass and getting significantly more second chance opportunities than the Bulls have, which is why you've been seeing those big shot attempt discrepancies between the Bulls and their opponent. Bulls out-rebounded the Rockets 44-33 tonight, but more importantly, out-rebounding them 13-6 on the offensive glass. And you know who led the Bulls on that front in getting second chance opportunities? Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley, the 6'1" point guard, out here hustling, boxing out, and skying high off Bulls misses instead of just trailing backwards like we've seen the Bulls do all season. This is what I love about a guy like Patrick Beverley. Dude just comes ready to compete. Yeah, he's had some shenanigans in the past. He's a big trash talker. He's not going to be the most talented player on the court, but he hustles, competes, knows his role, and knows what he needs to do to get the job done. He said in the postgame interview in that loss against the Pacers, saying the Bulls need to rebound better. Well, dude took matters into his own hands despite being the smallest player on the court. This was Patrick Beverley's best game in a Bulls uniform thus far. 16 points, hit 4 triples, 6 for 7 shooting, 10 rebounds on 5 assists, and was a team high plus 17 on the night. That's the kind of impact we need. But Patrick Beverley aside, how about Zach LaVine? Dude has just been on a mission, straight killing it since the All-Star break. Super efficient, focused, aggressive. And you know, before when he was putting up those 40 pieces, people were giving him a hard time because he was putting up 40 points and then would have 1 rebound and 0 assists. Tonight, 36 points, 14 for 26 shooting, 3 for 8 from 3, but also 9 rebounds and 5 assists to go along with a block and a steal. Man, this is the Zach LaVine I have been waiting to see all season. I had Big Dave on the channel in my last video, and we were talking about how we almost kind of wanted Zach traded based on the way that he was playing. He wasn't engaged, was lackadaisical, wasn't helping the team win, but now, since the All-Star break, it's like we're seeing a whole new Zach, and Zach playing at this level might just be enough to get the Bulls to the playoffs, because even in this game, when the Bulls were struggling and the Rockets went up by double digits at one point, Zach LaVine was the main reason the Bulls stayed in the game, out there like a scoring machine. His finishing at the rim has just been so good as of late that you can almost count on him now getting a bucket whenever he drives to the hoop. DeMar DeRozan, solid game as well, 27 points, 9 for 21 shooting, 2 for 3 from 3. He continues to be putting up more threes because the team has to. His efficiency has come down overall a bit, but obviously hit some big buckets down the stretch, some good and ones that the Bulls really needed in those final minutes, and he really hit that dagger 3 to put the Rockets away when they went up 9 with about a minute and a half left. Vucevic also a solid game. 18 points on 7 for 15 shooting, was key shooting from deep tonight, 4 for 7 from downtown. 18 points to go along with 12 rebounds and 6 assists, once again leading the Bulls in assists as a team. Caruso was great on defense tonight, 3 steals, 2 blocks. That combination and tenacity of him and Patrick Beverley in the lineup gives the Bulls such a jolt on defense, and it really shined when Billy went with that lineup to close out the game. Off the bench, nothing much doing except for the fact that Drummond had a solid 14 minutes off the bench, 11 points, 4 for 4, and 5 rebounds. Did anybody else catch that steal and transition drive that he took himself like a linebacker trying to run the floor? Thought that for sure was going to turn into a turnover, but actually had some nice ball handling and good finish at the rim. So look, I'm not going to say this was an incredible win or a big win like the win against the Nuggets and winning that game in convincing fashion on the road. That was a big win. But this is the Rockets, one of the youngest teams in the league, and the Bulls had this one a little too close for comfort for most of it, really all the way down to the end of the game. But a win is a win. Bulls are back to 10th in the East, right back in the play-in picture. And get this, with the Hawks also losing tonight, the Raptors have lost 3 in a row. The Bulls are now only a half game back of the 9 seed and 2.5 games back of the 8 seed. Progress, right? The Bulls actually have a long break before their next game on Wednesday against the Kings. That'll be a tough matchup, as it's pretty crazy that the Kings are one of the hottest teams in the NBA and second in the Western Conference, poised to make their first playoff appearance in 15 years? Bulls are back at home for that one, so hopefully they can come out with another impressive win. I'll have content out in the meantime, so be on the lookout for that. And as always, be sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.